folks. So today we're going to talk about Angel Beats. This show has one of the best intros ever. It's like, there's this cool piano part in the beginning where it's, I can't do it, but it's amazing piano entry. And the series is very fascinating. It's another one of these club kind of series, very similar. Well, I should say, a lot of people make the comparison between this series and the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. There are some overlapping things. There's like, they have the, instead of the SOS Brigade, they have the SSS Brigade, or Squadron. Instead of a lady that is God, they got a lady that can become God, theoretically. And they've got, the characters look alike. A lot of the templates for the various characters are the same as the templates for the characters in the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. But having said that, I think I will say that those are kind of more outer appearances. The series is actually quite different. However, anime does. One of the complaints about anime is that it does reuse this, and this is a series that is guilty of doing that. It just is. It really is. It's just guilty of copying other popular character types. Anyway, having said that, this series is interesting because it starts where a lot of series don't, which is at, the end of life. It's a very interesting concept for an anime. There's a few other animes that do this. I think the other one was called Harpa Kisses, or I can never pronounce it, but it deals with a very kind of similar plot. But it's an interesting show. One of the things that's frustrating about the series is there's a lot of plot holes involved in the series, and I don't want to go into too many. I'm just going to say that there are. And if you ever watch the series and you think about it, you can find them. It's pretty easy. The animation in the series, while it is not a show where they've got a lot of stunning imagery, the imagery that they have is sharply done. It's done very well, but the imagery is what you would expect. It's not, there's nothing out there that's, stands out great, But having said that, they do a good job with what they got, if that makes sense. Like if you go into a room, it's what a high school room would look like. It's not super decorative, but with the regular room, they do a pretty good job of representing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What else about the series? I think that the interesting component of the series is the backstories to a large extent. I think that most of them are considerably darker than most series get, and they actually help develop. They have character development by using these. Pardon me. Even though this is a very short series, they actually have some. Now, having said that, the series, even though it's got these dark components in it, once again, it keeps it light. It's actually a fairly funny anime. Of course, there's cultural losses with comedy when you go from Japan to America, just like there's probably them when you go to America to Japan. It's just something that happens. I've only watched the first season, but I definitely want to see where they take the series. Just because where they leave it, it is a finale kind of sense. They don't end it very poorly. I'll say that. This anime has an ending that you'd expect, but at the same time, they don't fuck it up. And that was kind of a good thing in my opinion. Now, the big thing that they changed, you know how I was talking about the anime templates and how they get reused and, characters get reused. Well, they take a character that you've seen in various anime, I'll call it the raid character, the kind of soulless character, right? And they make her the love interest in the show. Very interesting take on a series like this. They're almost never the love interest in the series. They're usually somebody who they might get flirted with, but they're never the concrete choice at the end of the series. If in almost any series, they really aren't. It doesn't usually happen. But in this series, they do that, and it's a fascinating take on it. But there's a reason why they don't do that. And that is that when you have an emotionless character, they don't communicate emotion very well. So you have, these two people are supposed to be in love. Well, she's acting like, a proton. It doesn't affect her. So it doesn't, her facial appearances, her actions don't represent the emotions that she's supposed to be conveying. But having said that, it's a fascinating take on, it. And I think it definitely demonstrates why that is a flawed formula and why we don't see it more often. But once again, ballsy move. I'll give it to them for that. At least they're trying, A lot of series, you just get the feeling that they're not trying. The voice actors are good. I thought it was interesting how much there's one character that uses American sayings, little things, and the character gets ruined because they don't translate it back. They don't make it like Japanese lines that are famous. They're, so it doesn't really, it's not equivalent. He's kind of just, he's the American character. He just quotes random song titles and stuff, and knocking on heaven's door and stuff. But I liked that character a lot. The series fighting style, they do have fighting in almost every episode, and I thought that the fighting was violent but not bloody, which is nice. Also, the fact that there's seeming immortal behavior in these characters being basically immortal. I'm not trying to give too much away, but I think if you watch the first 5 minutes of the show, you're going to basically get that idea. Is an interesting take, and also it makes it very video game friendly. Because if you've ever played a video game, what happens? You die a lot, right? Or if you're like me and you suck at video games, you die a lot. So I think it definitely leaves it open for video game franchise, and they already have one, as I understand it, or more, maybe more. Pardon me. I'm looking forward to seeing where they take the second season, if they have one. They say they do. I'm waiting for them to put it on Netflix. They're supposed to, so we'll see. What else? I think that's basically it. I guess I could go. Should I go there? I will say that this series definitely is worth checking out if you're into series that deal with, dead people. But if you're not, then don't check it out. I think that it's a interesting series. And if you're into kind of light comedy with mild amounts of violence, this is it. I mean, this is not a shonen. It's not really a shonen. This is it's kind of a high school problem film, if you want to put it that way. And it resolves itself pretty well, and I think it's very interesting. Once again, if you can see the second season, I recommend watching it just to see where it goes. A lot like if they ever made a second season to Pumpkin Scissors, which I reviewed not so long ago, I would check that out just because it kind of needs a second season. This series doesn't need a second season. It actually ends fairly well for an anime. I think I already said that, but it would be just interesting to see where it goes. Anyway, that's basically it. I would probably give this a 2.5 out of, a 2.3 out of, out of 5. Yeah, I like this show. It's just not, I'm a fan of the genre too. It just is I'm comparing it to other shows like that. I got The Melancholy of Haru Suzumiya. I got Clannad and stuff like that. The high school kind of thing, High School of the Dead or whatever. There's a lot of really good competition, and so that's why it kind of got lower marks. But having said that, if you are a fan of that segment like I am, it's worth checking out. It's an interesting take on it. Also, it's relatively short. It's not one of these series that goes on forever. These series don't usually go on that long unless you get into Kappa, from the top. You know what show I'm talking about? That's more of a drama, but They're usually fairly short. Anyway, that's it. Subscribe, comment, rate. Have a great day. Bye.